Welcome back to GEMS Podcast. I am your host and founder, Miss Genesis Amaris Kemp, and with me today is Nancy Pickard. And here is a bit about Nancy. She is splitting time among Colorado, California, and the East Coast. Nancy is a certified Master Integrative Life Coach, leader in holistic health, lifestyle coach, as well as a Healing Your Heart empowered parent, bigger, better, braver, courage, worthy, reinvention, and boundary coach. She headed mentor training at the Ford Institute for many years and is currently a mentor at Levin Life Coach Academy. She is a keynote speaker and frequent podcast guest. Nancy is the author of the international best-selling book Bigger, Better, Braver, Conquer Your Fears, Embrace Your Courage, and Transform Your Life. And today, we're going to learn how to get out of autopilot and live in the present moment. Nancy's going to tell us what does that look like? What are some tips that you can use in order to get out of that autopilot and really be present? So without further ado, please welcome Nancy Pickard.
Thank
Pickard.
you so much. That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, that was a mouth. The whole thing is just a mouthful to get through. So you did a great job.
Thank you so much, Nancy. So we know a bio is just a bio, but I want to know what is one interesting fact about yourself or what gives you that wild card factor?
How about that I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro at 61 years old?
Wow. Okay. So did you practice before you did that or did you just? Okay.
No. So I used to own a personal training gym. So I am an athlete. It's a big part of my life. And when I was turning 60, I just wanted to do something that was going to make me understand that 60 is just a number. It doesn't define me. And so I did. I trained for 6 months. I flew across the world to Africa and I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow, that's interesting. So we're just going to dive in because we have 15 minutes in this segment. But I want to know what are some keys to helping people get off of autopilot and really be present in their moment and in their life versus living life in the fast lane all the time, just being busy to just say they're busy.
Well, I think that, you have to stop and take a breath and take a pause to actually even notice where you're on autopilot. And, autopilot in itself is not a bad thing because you couldn't drive a car. I couldn't ski down a mountain. There's a million things we couldn't do if we were not on autopilot. So I'm really talking about emotional autopilot. That's where you want to catch yourself and say, am I as happy as I can be? Am I as joyful as I can be? What's not working in my life? Where am I not setting boundaries? Where am I being a pushover? Where am I just so busy being a people pleaser that I'm not noticing or asking, what do I want? What do I need? What's important for me? Why am I unhappy? Why am I not making the changes? How many people, do you have friends that you have listened to for 10 years, want to get out of a relationship, want to get into a relationship, want to change jobs, want to move, want to have a baby, want to find their purpose, and nothing ever changes.
Absolutely.
Those people are on autopilot. And when you can finally stop and say, wow, I'm not as happy as I want to be, or my marriage is not working the way I want it to be, or, why do I keep dating the same guys over and over again? And it's like, they're all the same guy. Why am I just doing the same things? Why am I sabotaging myself over and over again? When you can ask yourself those questions, that's the first step to get out of autopilot. And then go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because these are really good tips and it's enlightening because some people never stop to ask themselves the why.
Right. Yeah. Or how can I be doing it differently? What's not working in my life? People wear blinders and they don't actually want to know what's not happening or what's not. And time just goes by. I've had clients that will come to me because they want to change and they'll say, well, I've wanted this for the last year. And then all of a sudden they'll be quiet and they'll say, oh my God, I've wanted this for the last 4 years, and they weren't cognizant of how much time has gone by or how many incompletions they have in their life. How many things have they told themselves they're going to do and they just don't do, and they don't know why they can't do it. So they're stuck. They have no idea why, and they don't know how to get out of it.
Absolutely. I like to say it's the hamster wheel syndrome because you just keep running and running and running and going around and around in circles, but you're not really chasing anything. It's like, why am I doing this? And until you really connect with or start being intentional with where you want to go, I think that will help you navigate. So if someone were to come up to you, Nancy, like pretend I was a coaching client and they said, you know what, Nancy, I am just sick and tired of going through the rat race and I need to really level up in all areas of my life. And I need to know, how can I get off of autopilot? What are some of the go-tos that you would help me to kind of go beyond the surface level, but help me realize some internal things that I may not have realized externally, if that makes sense? Or feel
Sure.
free to rephrase it another way.
No, that makes sense. And so what I do, the first thing I do if you're my new client on week 1 is I take you through a whole vision exercise, the whole life wheel, not just like one area, but every area of your life. How do you want that to look a year from now? And not from your head where your ego is, but from your heart, from your soul. What makes your soul dance? How do you want your career to be? How do you want your finances to be? How do you want your love life to be? How do you want your friendships to be? How do you want your environment and where you live? Like really get down and get into what would you like? In a perfect world, you can have anything, because the vision is the feel good part. It's not the doing the work part. It's just like the big picture. And it can feel amazing. It doesn't even have to be set in reality. If I tell you I want to be a movie star, well, then that's my vision. And then we get down to setting some action steps and goals to start to make those different areas. So when we do this whole vision, I would then say to you, all right, what would you like to work on? What's the one area in the next 3 months you really want to see different? And then we start, okay, what's one action step you can do this week? And while we're working on those action steps, I'm actually going to help you in the parts that you can't help yourself. So I will help you uncover the disempowering beliefs that you're not even aware of that came out of the first 10 years of your life that are holding you back. So these beliefs were formed when you were a child, and they were formed to keep you safe, to keep you from getting in trouble, from keeping you from hurting yourself. Let's say you're 7 years old and you stand up in class and you say a word wrong when you're reading and everyone in the class laughs at you. Well, in an instant, that little child made a belief, I'm stupid, I'm broken, I need to stay quiet to be safe so nobody will know. And so they go through their childhood and they don't raise their hand, they don't stand up and speak in a group, and it keeps them safe. Nobody's laughing at them. But fast forward, now they're 35 years old and they're in a meeting and they never share their voice, they never share their opinions. They get passed over from job to job because nobody actually thinks they have a brain in their head worth share, because they share nothing. And so that's one of a zillion ways, so shadow beliefs sound like, I'm not safe alone. I have to be perfect to be loved. I have to control everything to be safe. My voice doesn't matter. My needs don't matter. I'm broken. I'm unlovable. I'm not good with money. Religious people don't care about money. Just on and on and on. These are messages that we've gotten as children, and we internalize them. We're not even aware of them, but they rule our operating system and they keep us stuck and playing small.
Wow, that is so true. And whenever you mention operating system, I thought about all of us use either a computer or our phone. So just like we have to take time to update the software on our computer and phone, we need to take time to update the software in our lives, scrub away those old paradigm shifts, enter new paradigms, and then begin to take action upon those so we could see ourselves at the level we want to be. So that's like scrubbing away that imposter syndrome, asking for help, finding a mentor, getting rid of that negative self talk, getting rid of that negative ego, and introducing positive self talk, that new ego and new ways of thinking and practices in order to shift you, but also stretch you beyond your comfort zone so you can rise up to the level that you desire to be. And it's not going to be easy, but you have to put in the work in order to see the results. It's kind of like a farmer. If a farmer never plants any seeds, they're not going to be able to reap that abundant harvest.
Correct. Well said. The whole thing was well said.
So, Nancy, because I know we're definitely going to have to bring you back for a part two so we can unpack more, but I definitely want you to just give some homework to our audience and listeners. What are some of the areas you want them to focus on in order to just really help them start chipping away and being present in the moment?
Well, understanding that you have these disempowering beliefs that are actually fueling that negative self talk is a great place to start. So, I'm not trying to sell my book here, but my book does have exercises in how to do exactly that. Because without a coach, it's not something it's not something that you can easily unpack for yourself. But if you want to try to unpack it for yourself, just start to see what is the negative self talk? What are the feelings that you're having? What are the fears that are keeping you stuck? So that you can start to figure out, all right, well, so when else in my life have I felt those feelings? Or when else have I felt that stuckness? And you try to bring it back in time to see if you can start to unravel where it first came from. And then give yourself a new empowering belief. So if you think you're unworthy or you think your needs don't matter, give yourself a new positive twist on that with affirmations that go along that are going to support you in alignment with where you do want to go. And that's a great place to start. And then the other thing that I will just leave you with is that people think that you have to be in a fearless state to move forward. And that is not the truth. That will never happen. Nobody lives in a fearless state. I say yes to everything. I do it with fear. I take fear by the hand because I know that my growth is on the other side. I know my growth is on the other side. And so that's what you have to do. You have to know that successful people are just people that don't quit. They're not fearless people. They're not people that don't fall. They're not people that don't fail. They're people that just keep going and they take fear by the hand and they go anyway.
I like that. And as you were talking about taking fear by the hand, and as well as talking about those limiting beliefs and stuff, I thought about a picture because I always like to visualize. So imagine yourself holding hands, and you're holding hands with the word fear, and you're dragging fear because you need to drag fear in order for you to get over the other side. And fear could be that emotional baggage that is limiting you from climbing up Kilimanjaro, or starting that business or getting married or whatever the case may be. So whether you need to visualize something in order to help you, or if you need to write down something on a sticky note and put it in a location that you're going to look at every day, like the fridge. We're always going to go in our fridge. Some people use a microwave, the bathroom mirror, whether you're using it to put on your makeup, or men to groom yourself and brush your teeth, or whatever the case may be. Put those visual reminders out in front of you so you can continue to reprogram yourself, and then always build partnerships with people who have been where you are but have surpassed it, where they could call you out on your BS and let you know, dude, girl, your poop does stink, and I'm going to need you to level up because
Love it.
sometimes we could be our biggest critics versus our biggest cheerleaders.
Sometimes, all the time, all the time. Nobody talks as poorly to us as we talk to ourselves. Nobody.
And we
Yeah.
have to stop doing that. And one book that I read too is a book called Boundaries, because we have to set boundaries for ourselves. But while we're setting boundaries for ourselves, we're also influencing it with other people in our life, and that's building respect. And some of the boundaries could be, I'm not going to talk to myself in a negative manner. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say yes to new challenges. I'm going to learn something new, because if you're not learning, then you're not growing.
I agree 100%.
So, Nancy, I definitely want you to leave our listeners and viewers with a call to action for this segment, something that's going to ignite them and it's going to cause them to get off their hiney and say, I can do it and I will succeed.
Well, first of all, there's this saying that the last person in a race still beats the person on the couch, right? So get up and get comfortable being uncomfortable, because people are afraid of short-term discomfort, but they're willing to have long-term discomfort, right? So be willing to be uncomfortable and move out of your comfort zone and do something that's scary. It doesn't have to be a big step, but it has to be a step, because the way you'll feel about yourself for just trying one thing is worth everything. The juice is in the journey. Give it a shot.
Ooh, I like that, Nancy. You have to put that on a t-shirt. The juice is in the
Yeah.
journey. Give
It's
it
in
a
my
shot.
book.
And so, Nancy, for anyone out there interested in connecting with you further, please plug your website and where you hang out predominantly on social media.
Well, my website is nancypickardlifecoach.com, and everything is there. A free chapter to my book, and how to get my book, all my different coaching modalities, and live courses that I have, and courses that I have on Gen Connect You, and it's all available. Everything is on my website. Your podcast will end up on my website.
That is awesome. And there you have it, folks. Nancy Pickard, one-stop shop on her website. There's no excuse for you not to connect with her. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. Make sure you subscribe, share this segment, and also leave a review so we know what's working well, what do you like, and any questions you may have. And feel free to follow us on YouTube at Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp for all things video content. And stay tuned. Nancy will be back in the future for a part 2. So if you have any questions for her, send them my way. Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp at gmail.com. Until next time, ciao.